beautiful people. Wow. Wow. Every single day, I come on here and say that there's some crazy, wild thing happening because we live in unprecedented times. And last night was one of those very, very interesting moments. So I really wish I could play videos on here. Though, because of the way I have the live set up, I cannot. I always do my live from my phone. So I cannot play the video for you all. But I can explain what basically happens. So, like many people, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night. I wake up in the middle of the night, not by choice. But I wake up in the middle of the night and I start scrolling and look through a couple things, and then I eventually go back to sleep. I full on got out of bed for this one, okay? Protesters storm restaurant, a seafood restaurant, as Trump tries to dine. And normally these kinds of tactics, I'm usually, regardless of like party affiliation, I'm usually like, yeah, not the best look. But these are unprecedented times. This is someone who literally relishes and enjoys the cruelty that he does to people in this country on a daily basis. This is a guy who has a whole Wikipedia page based on name calling. Sorry, I don't have an ounce of empathy for this guy whatsoever. When you break the rules, when you break the idea of the normalcy of being a decent human, not an outright jerk, I'm sorry, but the rules are not going to apply to you back in return. It's just not. This is the same guy who is literally sending the National Guard into cities because he thinks there's some big, huge crime thing that he's making up. But he's doing this all at a time when he is trying to distract from his criminality being associated with Epstein. All of this is to say, there are so many reasons why Donald Trump is such an awful human being. He's literally the worst person ever. He's crushing our economy. He profits off he profits off of people's pain. Like, it's just, anyway. It's one of my moderators just texted me. Sorry about that. One of my moderators texted me and was like, "Did you start it yet?" Yes, I did. So I wish I could play the live stream for you all, or I wish I could play the video for you all on here live, though I cannot because of the way I set this up here. This is all done from my phone in my car. Yes. So let me just briefly go through all this. I woke up at 2 a.m., more like 2:45 last night, or I guess this morning, and I rolled out of bed and I'm like, oh my God, what is happening here? And I watched this video, and not gonna lie, I went and I just started having a bagel, and I was like, do I get up now? Like, anyway, I wish I could show the clip, but let me dive into a little bit of what happens here, all right? So, last night, Donald Trump, along with his cabinet and along with a lot of other officials, a part of his administration, go down, I think, 2 blocks or so to a seafood restaurant. And this seafood restaurant, I don't know if they privately closed it off for, like normal dining service and only just for them. I don't know. That isn't, those details, I'm not sure. It's also not really super consequential. But anyway, these protesters get by the Secret Service and they go in and they start shouting, protesting Trump. Now, their chant is free DC, free Palestine, Trump is the Hitler of our time. I mean, it's a catchy rhyme. And look, this is a guy who his own vice president, J.D. Vance, at one point was like, yeah, I can't tell if... And like, let me give you the actual quote. J.D. Vance literally at one point said, I go back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical asshole like Nixon, like Richard Nixon, who wouldn't be that bad and might even prove useful, or if he's America's Hitler. How's that for discouraging? And then this is the same guy who's now Trump's vice president. Anyway, also, he has been apologetic, like, oh yeah, at one point he said something and I'd have to double check, so please go and fact check it and look into it for me. he doesn't shy away from praising dictators. At one point, I don't have the graphic up here to prove it, but at one point on his Truth Social, he reposted or posted a picture. No, he posted a picture of Napoleon. And Napoleon, a famous French authoritarian leader, said, he who saves his country commits no crimes. So he views himself as saving the country. No, he who saves this country violates no law. That was a quote from Napoleon. Of course, it was said in French. So this is a guy who has an open admiration for dictators. So him being called a dictator, you could say, might be ineffective for the protesters. Though, if you watch the video, it clearly does get under Trump's skin. It clearly gets under Trump's skin. I appreciate every single one of you. Please make sure to send some likes. I love all of you so much. Even if you don't like me, okay? So, let me just go on to further break some of this down for you all. So the protesters storm in. Obviously, Trump is angry and upset. He does this thing, he does his typical Trump head nod, where he, like, smiles, and then he tilts his head. Like, he, like, does that thing where he's like, you know? So he does that and just to prove, yes, I was up at 3 a.m. taking these screenshots. You can see 302, 302 up there. It's so funny because I will, I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh yeah, let me just check the news. Let me just check the news. So anyway, he does his little head nod thing there. And then he walks over and he basically does this thing with a hand. He does this like hand wave. My grandmother, may she rest in peace. I always used to call her Mima. She would do this thing too. A lot of older folks tend to do like a hand wave, not like this, but like this. My grandmother, Jacqueline Johnson, bless her heart, she used to do the wave. We used to call it the wave. She would just be like, so he does this weird kind of like hand wave. And I don't know, he probably was shouting to Secret Service, like, get him out of here. Something like, get him out of here. Anyway, but it was just funny because it looked really weird when you watch the video. And again, I wish I could play the video for you live here on my, on the live stream. But I always do the live stream through my phone. And I don't have like a setup for all of that. When I move into my new apartment, I will definitely have something set up. Anyway, so the protesters are shouting, like, free DC, free Palestine, Trump is the Hitler of our time. And, you know, obviously it gets under Trump's skin. They get ushered out. Here's some other funny moments from it. This is Marco Rubio. He's our Secretary of State. He's known for being kind of a war hawk. And as you can see, people confront Donald Trump at DC restaurant. He smiles at the camera as they chant free DC, free Palestine, Trump is the Hitler of our time. Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and JD Vance seen alongside Trump at the dinner. And this is also from the same guy who posted this video. The disruption was led by a group, Code Pink. And, you know, they're pointing out the very real problem of the genocide happening over in Gaza. And you can criticize Joe Biden, and I have extensively. You can criticize Democrats for feeding into the right-wing narrative of always having to somehow defend Israel's authoritarian genocide that's happening over there as well. Like, and when you really want to break it down, it's when Democrats start acting like Republicans that they lose. When they start trying to go too moderate. Why else do you think Hillary Clinton, why else do you think Kamala Harris lost the last elections? It's because Democrats, we want a robust alternative to Republicans. Like, Democrats want progressive, not even just like progressive, we want fighters. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. But also, APAC Tracker had to just, you know, put in here. You can see, and also moderators, please make sure to text in our group chat if there is a super chat that comes in. I appreciate every single one of you. And for those people who are like, oh, Trump, he's anti-war. Are you serious? This is a guy who's taken $230,000. Actually, no, hold on. That's not even that's $230 million. I'm sorry. $230 million from AIPAC. Now, I'm not saying that Democrats don't take money from AIPAC either, Hakeem Jeffries. But at the same time, he said to Bibi Netanyahu, we're on the same side of every issue. So, anyway, they're going on saying, and it was only a small group of protesters that I was able to see. Of course, I have not watched all different angles of the videos and stuff like that. It seemed like it was a small group of women. Though I want to say, I don't think that people realize how much of America is actually on the side of these people. Because here's the thing. Donald Trump is deporting people without due process. He is cruelly cutting off food stamps. He's cutting aid to hungry children. He's cutting international development aid to help with slowing the spread of other diseases worldwide. This is a guy who relishes in the cruelty of people who are seeking to come to this country to make it a much more robust and better place. So, usually I don't like tactics like this, but unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. Seriously, like, this is a guy who doesn't care one bit about common decency. He has a whole damn Wikipedia page based on the name calling. And it's so funny that now you have all these Republicans that are like clutching their pearls being like, oh my God, have you seen what Newsom has said? Oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like, he's literally just mimicking Donald Trump's style, just using it against him. And they're literally so unable to understand the nuance. They're unable to be self-aware in any capacity whatsoever. Anyway, going on here, it gets even better, and I'm going to share some of the comments here in a second. But what was so funny was I was taking screenshots of the video, and as you can see here, that was Trump doing his little, like, you know, his little head thing where he, like, smiles and then goes back and forth. It's kind of like a tiny bit of a dance from him. And then he goes over and does his little hand wave. If you watch the video, it was definitely funny. I should not say funny. It looked kind of funny. Like different, weird. It was kind of strange. Anyway, and there was one point where the protesters who were filming went about and they were going through. And there's a point where Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, looks right at the camera like this. And regardless of policy, regardless of politics, it's just funny. It's just funny to see, like, this specific moment. And then that's Pete Hegseth in the background. So I blew it up. I just think it's kind of funny. By the way, let me make a public service announcement here. Okay. I literally have hidden the chats away. If you are screaming in the chat about, oh my God, he's too gay, he's too fruity, trying to make fun of my appearance or my voice. Seriously, if you have a crush on me, just send me a direct message, DM, slide in my DMs. I know I'm cute, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But seriously, for people who are constantly obsessing over my sexuality, y'all are the creeps. Y'all are the perverts. I'm talking about politics, current events. You don't have to agree with my opinion. But it's funny, all these people that constantly bring up my sexuality, you're making it weird. You're making it creepy. So maybe have some respect for yourself and don't be such a jerk. Okay? I'm not your enemy. And you know what's so funny? As soon as I said this, about 100 of them scrolled away. Good. Good. Bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Hope you step on a Lego today. Also, if you're enjoying the live, please make sure to smash the subscribe button. So let me get to some comments here. And then I'm going to have to go in about 5-7 minutes because I have a big day at work today. But let me get to some of these comments here. Someone remind him that J.D. Vance, his vice president, all suggested that Trump might be America's Hitler. Because again, they were screaming, free DC, free Palestine, Trump is the Hitler of our time. And these protesters, it's a long video. And you said brave ladies. He absolutely wanted to hurt them. Massive support to these protesters from New Zealand. Dump should be booed everywhere he goes. This person says at point 20, like at the timestamp 20 seconds in the video, why was Trump moving his head like that? It looked weird. He's rattled. You can see it in his eyes. There's such an outpouring of support for these protesters online. I don't think that MAGA, these far right-wing MAGA people, are going to realize how much America stands with the women that did this. It's gonna be like a Luigi Mangione shock treatment. Because, of course, Luigi Mangione is the guy who famously unalived a CEO of United Healthcare in the middle of New York. You know, again, a lot of health insurance profits off of denying people coverage, because when you deny more coverage, you make more money. And then if you do increase marketing and get more sales in there, it's less about the actual treatment and more about whatever you can do to squeeze more money in a business model that is purely unethical in my view. But there was a huge outpouring of support, not because they liked or they said that what Luigi Mangione did was okay, but they're like, yeah, putting it in perspective. Look, when you mess with the bull, you're going to get the horns. When you are doing stuff like Donald Trump denying due process to people, cutting off Medicaid and food stamps for low-income, disabled, hungry people, hungry kids, when you're sending the National Guard into cities to terrorize people, yeah, there are people that are going to take up situations, maybe do some public disturbance to get your attention. But let's also put in perspective, this is Donald Trump. This is the same guy who makes fun of disabled reporters, who literally, for people who are like clutching their pearls being like, oh my God, this is just so unacceptable. Are you serious? He literally could not accept the results of an election that he lost, to the point where he propagandized his supporters to do his dirty work, to storm the Capitol. I have no ounce of empathy for this man whatsoever. When you break all the rules, you're not going to then be able to benefit from the rules when like they don't apply to you in that sense. So this person was like, he must be big mad now. Is it me, or did the agents kind of take their sweet time? So let's not go into these conspiracy theories or anything like that. Though I will say the agents kind of seemed a little bit more complacent. Like they didn't rush to take away these protesters. Like they obviously broke past the agents, the Secret Service agents, broke past them. And I was like, huh. And at one point, these protesters were kind of just like standing in front of Trump and saying these things. And he's just like standing there being like, I don't know what to do. They are young women. They do look pretty. You know, let me tell you, I could go for one of them. I'll take what's behind door number 1. Actually, no, door number 3. It's always the 3s. Or maybe I could do all of them. Actually, line them up. Let's have a buffet. Let's have a buffet. Yummy, yummy in my tummy. Anyway, this is also the same guy that's perpetuating endless amounts of war and is literally renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War. And these comments keep going on and on. This person said Trump won't last a year. Wow, this is so great. I'm so proud of these women. Lots of steak knives and forks on those tables. Secret Service not interested in how close they are. Love it. Love how red they all turn. He's literally grinning while being called Hitler, and y'all still think this man has a soul. And these comments continue to go on and on. Rubio looks haunted and devoid of his soul. Trump looks weak and pathetic. Angry he couldn't intimidate them. Angry they weren't being removed fast enough. JD tried to garner support from people seated and failed. This is honestly the most pathetic I've seen Trump and co. Never give him a moment's respite from the shouting and constant reminder that he is destroying our country, violating our Constitution, and must be removed from office. That's another thing. He, as the President of the United States, said he swore an oath that he would uphold the Constitution, and now he's saying that he doesn't think or need to follow it. Like, this is a guy who re-quotes dictators, like Napoleon. He said that Napoleon famously said in French, but he who saves his country violates no law. Don't tell me that MAGA people don't believe that kind of crap. That is authoritarian. Imagine if I were to say that about, like, Kamala Harris, or Bernie Sanders, or Joe Biden. He who saves his country violates no law. No, the law is the law. And that's called due process. And so it's just, I've seen this clip. The look on his face when he realizes what's happening, it's actually quite telling. Oh my God, more of this. More of this. People need to start calling him a PEDO. So I don't think that America is ready for the outcry of support that is about to happen for these protesters. Like, I don't think that people are going... There are all these... I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. There are going to be some establishment figures that are like, oh my God, of course I agree with these protesters, but the way they're going about it is completely wrong. You're going to have these like elitist pearl clutchers that are going to be basically like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. This same kind of thing with Luigi Mangione, where the traditional media outlets are going to be like, oh my God, can't believe this is happening. But it's like, this is where America is right now. These women might be this small group there, but they are a huge chunk of America, if not the majority of how we're all feeling. So anyway, you can see more comments here. We need more and more of this, not just confronting Trump, but the sycophants in the administration and Republicans in Congress. No peace until they're all out of office. And great work, ladies. Upset the orange cart. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. He looks really pissed towards the end. Some great security. They were able to get right in his face. This is what needs to happen more often. 100%. From coast to coast, this is what democracy in motion looks like. Voices raised, truth spoken, power confronted. Someone put my new ringtone. And again, his own vice president said that Trump is like America's Hitler. So, anyway. I didn't even mention Epstein. There were also boos before even going in there. But like, oh my gosh. It's just, this is such a crazy political moment. This is such a crazy political moment. Now, I have to get to work because I have a big day at work today. I love all of you. I seriously do. Were there any super chats that I missed? I don't think there were any super chats I missed. I appreciate every single one of you. Seriously, it means a lot. Hey stud, I just had triplets with my stepdad, wishing the same on you. I'm not ready for kids, but you know, that's great. So anyway, someone said, I don't want your love. Okay, baby, it's you. You're the one I love. You're the one I need. Anyway, I love all of you so much. I need to get to work. Shout out to my amazing moderators. Ginger Monster, Kate, Cherie, Ilisa, Akicha, Joanna Tech, Cantisa, Ellie. I love all of you so much. Am I missing anyone? Jenny, Kate, Akicha, Elisa. I love all of you. I cannot do any of this without you all. Seriously, I love all of you, even if you don't like me, because there's a lot of people that are constantly like, guess what? I hid away the chat today, so I didn't even see all of the crazy things. It's so sad that there's so many people that get so upset by my existence, and then they're like, you're a beta! And it's like, I go on here every single day to get thousands of hate and harassing comments. So, sweetheart, my skin is so thick at this point, it's like a wallet. Anyway, I love all of you so much. Just remember that you are beautiful, that you are loved, that you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything ever dim your shine. And don't forget to subscribe. I love you all so much. Bye.